Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Charm City Heavyweights Podcast. I'm the host, Matt Trigger. Josh will be with us momentarily, but let's get the show started off right. Welcoming our first current pro football player from the Baltimore Ravens, long snapper Nick Moore. Nick, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for joining the show. So, to just give you a heads up, you are the first current NFL Major League Baseball player of the sort, just professional athlete that's currently active that we've had on the show. So you are the, I guess you're going to say, breaking us in with current athletes, man. How's it going? How's everything going over in the Moore residence?
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. Honored to be the first guy that's been able to be here. Things are good over here, man. We're just trying to figure out how to be parents. My wife and I, we got a 2.5 month old, so we're navigating that avenue here. So we're just having a good time doing that.
I'm sure that it's very challenging. Being a new parent is not easy. For those of us that are parents, it is very difficult because after you get out of the hospital and things are kosher over there, they just kind of push you out the door with, the newborn, and they're like, "Hey, you're on your own now," and no amount of classes and books can prepare you for
You're exactly
day-to-day
right.
parenting life.
Yeah,
So,
that's how it happens.
absolutely. And I'm sure, in the last couple months with the season ending and you were a free agent at the end of the season, you signed a extension in Baltimore. So that gives you and your wife the clarity and the knowing that you're at least got a home for a few more years. I know the business is cutthroat sometimes, but I'm sure it was, easy to not have to worry about moving
Yeah,
to a new
we
city because that could be rough.
yeah, we're definitely excited to be back in Baltimore. She's super happy we don't have to move anything, so that's great. And I'm super happy to be back in Baltimore. We both love it there. We got a lot of friends up there on the team, so like I said, we're just super excited to be there and happy that they wanted me back.
Absolutely, and the thing is, a lot of people don't realize the importance of the position that you play. Long snapping is not for everybody. It's not like you can just be really good at running really fast and catching the ball and or throwing the ball or making a tackle with what you do. You got to be accurate. You got to be smart, and then on top of that, you got to learn how to block and you got to learn how to tackle. So you have a very complicated job, so to speak, and I'm sure that it's not easy with the pressure, considering you're long snapping for a Hall of Fame kicker in Justin Tucker.
Yeah, Justin is he's one of a kind, that's for sure. But yeah, my position is very unique and very specialized in what I have to do day to day and play to play. So it's much different than the regular football player. But it's something that I've come pretty good at, and I really enjoy doing it. And it kind of fits my personality. It's very relaxing to me. I know it's high stress and stuff like that, certain situations, but it's very like I said, specialized craft. So it allows me to kind of work the intricate details of it and kind of perfect every little nitty thing that I have going on in my snap and things like that. So I love doing it.
Now it's funny that you mentioned that there's a lot of intricate details. Like you said, it's a high stress job. It's not like you're out on the field for 20, 30 snaps or sometimes even 15 snaps. You're out there for extra points and punts. So you don't have a whole lot of room for error. And
Yeah.
if you're good at your job as a long snapper, you can stick around the league for 15 years. Or if you're not good at it, you could be out of a job rather fast. But when you're in these high stress situations, how do you stay ready the entire game? Because honestly, you're on the field for either a really good situation, a field goal, or a extra point, or you're on
Mhm.
the field for a bad situation where the offense,
Yeah.
went 3 and out, or they couldn't convert on the third or the fourth, on the third down conversion or anything like that. So how do you stay ready on the sideline, knowing that you might only be on the field maybe a handful of times the entire game?
Yeah, I know that's one of the difficult parts of the job. I think I probably averaged around 7 plays a game this year. And in the course of a 3-hour football game, 7 plays goes by really fast. So it's, you're constantly, I'm not on the field a whole lot, but I'm like, whenever the offense is working, me and Justin and Jordan, we're over on the side. We're snapping, we're punting, they're kicking. We're working on our stuff on the sidelines to stay ready. So we're working the whole game, essentially, except for, when we're on defense, we kind of take a step back and relax for a minute. But yeah, that's part of the battle at my position and specialists as a whole, playing once every 30 minutes real time, whether it's 5 minutes in the game, on the game clock or whatnot. But it's definitely something you have to learn how to do by playing the position and getting that experience. But ultimately, it's what we signed up for, and our goal as an offense is every time we get the ball, we want to try to end in a kick. Obviously, you want to end with a field goal because you're either getting a field goal or making a PAT after a touchdown, or you're punting. And as long as you can end an offensive drive with a kick, it's not necessarily always a bad thing. It's better than the alternative, having a turnover or something like that. So, just every time we get the ball, I'm just assuming I'm going out there at some point, whether it's in 3 plays or it's in 30 play, or I guess 30 is a lot, but like 15-play drive or something like that. So that's kind of the mindset that we have going into it, and then just staying locked in and focused is that's a difficult part of the job.
I can imagine. So when they have you at practice, like kind of walk us through a normal day of practice. You don't have to be super, detailed in the small things. Now, do you have to like go practice tackling with, say, the linebackers or the defense? Do you have to then go into the special teams portion where you're working on snaps to Jordan? Um, then you have to go to like a blocking segment. Is it a lot of hopping around being a specialist?
Um, Not really for us. What we do in Baltimore is we do special teams first at the beginning of practice. So come out of the gate, we'll do whatever special teams is up for that day. Like if it's a Wednesday in the season, we're doing punt and kickoff return. So we start with punt first thing of the week. Get the pads popping. So we do our special teams as a unit first thing during practice, and then once we finish up of that, we go. Me and Jordan and Justin, we go over to our field, and field 3 is what we call it, and we work on our stuff. Whether it's on Wednesdays, Jordan likes to get some like what we would call field punts. So if we're punting from our own 20 or 15 or whatnot, or Thursday, we work on more of the pooch punt situations where we're punting from the 50 or the 45 or things like that. And then that's our time for us to kind of work on our craft and try to kind of perfect if we didn't have a good game the week before, or if there's some technical things that are going on with us that we just want to kind of hone in to be a little bit more consistent. We use that time to try to work on that, and then we'll do field goal period, which is usually in the middle-ish to second half of practice with the team. And so we'll do that period. It usually lasts about 5 minutes or so, and then once we're done with that, we that's a little bit more time for us to either work on some more stuff if we didn't have such a good day or we didn't have such a good game the week prior. We'll get a little extra work in there, or we'll do our workouts for the week, um, things like that, or just you know sometimes sometimes we're used to as bodies if they need help or something like that, but that's very rare during the season. And that's pretty much all we do. It's pretty every day is pretty much the same. We just change up kind of what the specific things that we're working on, if whether it's punt return or kickoff return, and then if we're doing if Jordan wants to work on short punts, long punts, Tuck's working on kickoffs or field goals and things like that. So we kind of do a little bit of everything during the week.
Okay. That is very interesting how they just let you guys really just focus. The high school level, that's the farthest I played. And we would see the kicker and the long snapper and the holder. They would do their portion early on, like you said. I think that might be standard for most programs.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the long snapper was usually a linebacker or a safety or a fullback or somebody like that was multifaceted. So it's interesting that the specialization gets at the college level and into the pros.
Yeah, we were like that in college. We had I was a fullback and a long snapper in college, so I did a little bit of both. And we would do like part of our special teams that we did in college. We would do like tackling drills, and sometimes we do like in training camp and OTAs and stuff. We'll do like tackling drills type stuff. But when we get to the regular season, we focus more on what's the importance of our job, and that is the snap, the hold, the kick, or the punt. And that kind of takes over, and you focus more on the grit and the scheme of the game rather than the technical stuff. I guess if you're on a bye week, then you can kind of devote a little bit extra time to working on tackling drills and pursuit drills and things like that. But that doesn't happen too often during the regular season for us.
Is it a little bit more pressure knowing that Coach Harbaugh is a special teams guy? Is he a little bit harder on you guys as a result? I mean, because he didn't really. I mean, he's been the head coach here for 15 years, obviously.
Yeah.
But we hired him from Philadelphia
Philly.
as the special teams coordinator. Is it a little bit more pressure with the expectation of Coach Harbaugh at the helm?
I wouldn't say that there's more pressure. I would say you can't get anything by Coach because he knows everything about special teams. So he knows, like, even for me, like he knows if I make a mistake in my protection, if I block the wrong guy, or if I have a bad step in my set on my protection or things like that. But having the head coach as a guy who's really investing in special teams, and he's in all the special teams meetings. He's out there all the time during practice. Um, for special teams, and he's very involved in it. So I think it brings a little bit of extra like juice to special teams, and he puts a lot of emphasis on it because I've been there. This has been going into my fourth season there, and we've been kind of top three in the league in special teams all 3 years I've been there so far. And we kind of pride ourselves on being the best special teams unit in the NFL. And so having a head coach that is that in tune with special teams and that involved really it kind of sets the precedent for everybody else. Like, hey, man, we play special teams here, and if you don't like it, then you're not going to be here very long because that's just what everybody plays. I mean, you got Marlon Humphreys run down on kickoff sometimes. I mean, Chuck Clark was a big time special teams guy. Calais Campbell played on field goal and field goal block. Like a lot of our big guys play outside,
Right.
Lamar or somebody like that. But
yeah,
we,
he who shall not be named right now, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Having Coach Harbaugh as our head coach and being a guy that has that special teams background, I think it's a blessing for all of us. That I make my living on special teams, and there's a lot of guys in the NFL that all they do is play special teams. I mean, you look at Matt Slater with the Patriots or Anthony Levine Sr. with us. I mean, those guys played over 10, 12 years. Slater's going on to year like 25 at this point and only playing special teams. So having that, I think having a coach like Coach Harbaugh is a huge benefit for all of us.
Absolutely. And Nick, I want to introduce you to my co-host, my best friend, Josh. Nick Moore.
What's
Josh,
up,
how's it
Nick?
going?
How you doing? Welcome.
Good. How are you,
Thank
man?
you for coming on.
Mm-hmm.
So, Josh,
Sorry, thanks for having me.
Just to catch you up a speed a little bit, I was asking Nick about his day-to-day life as a Ravens long snapper with Jordan and Justin, and having Coach Harbaugh at the helm, being a special teams guy. And he said that John sits in on all the meetings.
Oh, I'm sure.
He's very involved with the special teams unit, being as though we've been top three the last couple of years that Nick's been here. Before I let Josh get into some questioning, Nick, I wanted to ask you. That the team has had a long-standing tradition of being good on special teams or above average, as the Ravens fans would say. You took over for a very tenured long snapper, not only in position but in number. What was it like having to not only come in and work with Tucker, but replacing Morgan Cox?
Morgan has become one of my closest friends over the last few years. We played together. I was on the team with him in 2020, and he's a class act guy. I can't say enough good things about him. I don't think I would be where I'm at today if it wasn't for Morgan. But obviously coming in, in 2020, he was a All-Pro and a Pro Bowler. And so coming in after that, a lot of people were, kind of dumbfounded in a sense that he was no longer going to be on the team. Obviously the club made their decision. They want to go in a different direction, and, no hard feelings either way. Morgan and I are still, like I said, we're still super close. But anytime you come in and replace a guy who's been in the same position with the same team for over a decade is very challenging. And obviously I took number 46 because of Morgan. I wanted to kind of carry on his legacy in Baltimore. I asked him, prior to taking the number, if he would be comfortable with me wearing it, and obviously he said yes because I'm wearing it. But yeah, I mean he's been instrumental in my career and in my regular life as well. And I owe everything to him. Everything that I've gotten up to this point has all been because I've had him as a mentor. So, really, I'm just blessed to be able to kind of take over after him and be able to continue on and put up the same performances that he did for so long here in Baltimore that there's been no fall off. So I've been very happy with that.
That's great, man. That's great. Hey, Josh, and I know that you had some prior obligations, man. Thank you for, making it on. Go ahead and fire away, Josh. I know that you've been looking forward to talking to Nick today.
Oh yeah, we don't get current Ravens on here. We've had a few Ravens lately, but not too many current Ravens. How's it going, Nick?
It's good. How you doing?
I'm good. Hey man, I never realized until I was reading about you today that you played minor league baseball in the Red Sox system, right?
Yes, sir. That was me.
So you went straight out of high school to the minor leagues. You were drafted.
Yeah. I was drafted in the 30th round in 2011.
Wow. I mean, I wish it would have been the Orioles. I wish it would have been the Orioles. But like, what was that transition like? I mean, did you realize, like, thinking I'm never going to get to the big leagues, go to football, back to football? I mean, what led to it?
I think I had a realization with myself there right at the end of my career that I was never going to make it to the big leagues. One of my best friends at the time, and I'm still relatively close with Mookie Betts, but at the time, him and I were really, really close, and we were living together. And anytime you live with a guy like that who is, a perennial all-star, going to be a future Hall of Famer probably, he signed a $400 million contract. Anytime you're close to a guy like that and you're around him on the day-to-day, you realize how much better that those guys are than I am. So it didn't take me long to realize that I didn't have a chance. And then I ended up getting cut in 2015, and then I just ultimately decided that baseball had run its course in my life. I did the best I could. I devoted a lot of time, energy, and effort to it. And, at that point in my life, I was like, it's time for me to move on and try to figure something else out. Football was not on the radar like it is now. The plan was just to go to college and walk on and make some relationships and study in school and graduate and get a good job and use my football connections to get a job. And then I never would have thought I'd be here, almost 10 years later in the NFL. So.
Yeah, I always ask guys, like, you guys are living a dream that most of us all had when we were kids, Take me there. What's that like when you're on the field, man, and there's 70,000+ fans going nuts? I know you've been in front of bigger crowds. I'm sure at Georgia, that's a nuts.
Yeah,
How many
college
people
is
fit in that place.
different. Yeah, college is a
What
lot
is? I
different.
mean, but
Than,
what is that? What's that adrenaline like, man? Does anything else in life match that?
No, not that I can come up. I mean, outside of having my son and getting married to my wife,
Right.
those were the two biggest moments in my life thus far. But there's nothing quite like going out there on a Sunday. Sunday nights are just indescribable, honestly. And then the crowd's electric. The games are electric. Just playing football in general is fun. Just having that as my job, and it's something as a kid. Like you said, I mean, there's hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of kids around America and the world that dream of playing professional sports at the highest level possible, and to be able to do that for a living is, it's a blessing. And I've spent, I'm 30 years old now. I started playing sports when I was 3, so going on 3 decades of playing sports and trying to get to this point. And it's very gratifying, and it's just fantastic to be able to do that.
I'm sure it is. Back in college, you were recruited as a linebacker and fullback. Was it your idea to switch to long snapper, or was it kind of the coach like, "Hey, man, you got a better shot if you're snapping the ball"?
Well, so I went into Georgia as a linebacker, and Roquan and I actually started college together in 2015.
That's
Wow.
insane.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it took all of about 1 day to realize I was never going to play linebacker in Georgia, because we were doing summer workouts, and we were running. I'll never forget. We were running 10-yard sprints, and I'm coming off playing minor league baseball. I'm a pro athlete. Like, coming into college, I was 22, kind of thinking I was hot shit when really I wasn't. And it took about 1 10-yard sprint when Roquan was finishing, and I was just getting off the line. I realized that I needed to figure something else out, and it wasn't my plan to move to long snapper until the very end of my time at Georgia. I was given the option to play, to continue to try to play fullback and long snapper going into my senior year. And I was meeting with Coach Smart, and ultimately decided that fullback was not a position that I wanted to play. I don't know if you've seen Pat Ricard, but we don't look anything alike.
Yes.
He's way bigger than me. He can play that position all he wants. And long snapper is much more suited to what I like and enjoy about football.
Cool, awesome. How is it having Sam Cook as a coach now? Was it weird, or is it more like the same now? He's just got a different title.
It's Sam is like one of my closest buddies. Obviously, I played with him for 2 years, and having him as a coach now is it's just great. He's so knowledgeable. He's so experienced. He knows everything that we're going through, and now he has a different perspective of it because he doesn't have that same pressure and anxiety that he had as a player, where you got to perform every week. So just having him there as a calm, cool, collected head on the sidelines and in practice, he knows me really well. He's caught hundreds, if not if not thousands of snaps from me over the course of 2 seasons, and he knows me so well, and he knows when I'm making mistakes, he knows why I'm making those mistakes, and he knows how to help me fix them. And most of the time, it's just blow my head out of my ass and just kind of relax and do my job, as he would say. But he's an instrumental piece to our special teams unit, and having a guy like that at your disposal on a day-to-day basis is just, nobody has that. And we're very lucky to have Sam, and we're very appreciative that he's still around. And like I say, he's one of my, still to this day, he's still one of my good buddies. It's a little different now because he's my boss. He's my coach. But he's a stand-up guy, and I'm glad he's still around with us.
Yeah, me too, man. He's been on the Ravens so long. It's forever. It
20
seemed
years.
like.
It was pushing
Yeah,
20
it was
years at one
insane.
point.
It
Yeah, he
shocked
may never
me
leave.
when I heard I forget what game it was, when he was still playing, one of the announcers said it, and I was like, what? I didn't even realize it was that long.
2006 was when he got drafted.
Wow.
So he's been here through the end of the Billick era and all of Harbaugh's
Yep.
era.
I know that's what
Yep.
surprised me because I forgot that's right. He was with Billick. That's insane.
Mhm.
Nick, I only got one more for you, man. What was that like when Tucker hit that kick? I mean, the whole world was surprised. Harbaugh was surprised. It showed on TV. They had a close up of him. I mean,
Yeah.
did your jaw drop like everyone else, or did you have a feeling he had it that day?
Well, the day didn't start out that great.
No,
We didn't have
that's
our
true.
best. We didn't have our best pregame warm up, and we missed our first kick of the game there. But I've seen Tuck make kicks like that time and time again on the practice field. I don't think Coach was surprised that he made it. I think he was surprised that it was an NFL record. Like I was, I didn't realize it was an NFL record until we get out because for me it was my first game-winning field goal snap. So like I was only focused on that. Like this is my first chance to like really prove that the decision that they made with Morgan was a good one because this is why I'm here to snap in these situations, and that's what we get paid to do. And so for me, I was like focused on game-winning snap. Got to have a good snap. Just get a good snap. Get a good snap. It wasn't until we huddle up on field goals. So I huddle everybody up, make sure we got all the guys. We break the huddle. I walk over to the ball and I get my feet set, and I realize that I'm seeing blue like grass, like turf, and I'm never standing in the logo. Like, that never happens. So to be standing in the logo, I was like, holy crap, this is going to be a far one, And
Yeah.
obviously we delivered a good snap, and Sam had a phenomenal hold, and Tuck broke the record. So it was one of the coolest athletic sporting things I've ever done. Being in that moment, being a part of history in a sense, was truly remarkable.
I do want to ask you a question though. The famed wolf pack between Justin, Sam, and Morgan. Do you guys give yourselves a nickname now, or you just or did you just let it die when 2/3 of the wolf pack moved on to other pastures?
Well, last year 2 years ago, 21, we were the Wolfpack 2.0, and then we got to OTAs, and or I think it was training camp, and somebody asked Tuck that, and he was like, "Well, it sounds weird to just keep saying Wolfpack 3.0." So we're nicknameless at the moment. Hopefully, we could do some cool stuff to earn a nickname. Obviously, Justin, Sam, and Morgan had done some really, really good things over the course of 9 years together. So they a well-deserved nickname there. So maybe one day, if we're together that long, we'll get a cool nickname as well.
I was always curious because that they were thicker than thieves for the most part, and I know you got the specialist got to be like you said earlier in the show that you guys spend a lot of time together, and it's a lot of meetings, it's a lot of intricate details being sorted out, and attention to detail because you're on the field for an important snap every single time. It's not like you have plays to make it up, but what is the biggest difference in the preferences of Sam Cook as opposed to Jordan Stout? I know everybody has their own nuances. What's the biggest difference between the two?
I think the biggest difference was Sam was so experienced, and he had been playing for so long. He has done everything, and he has seen everything. And Sam would used to always tell me because I was older, but I was still just playing for the first time ever. And I remember my very first game was in Pittsburgh in 2020 during COVID, and we were walking out of the tunnel, and he just kind of looked at me. He's like, "Hey, just no matter what happens, you have a job to do. Just do it the best you can, and I'll make sure everything happens smoothly." And it'll, and he would never say any. Now he would get after me in practice a little bit, but he would never, he would never say anything. And his mantra was always just do your job, no matter what, no matter if it's a bad snap, if it's a good snap, if it's left, right, up, high, whatever. So he just handled everything and did it. But I think that came with his experience. I don't know. I didn't know Sam in 2006, so I have no idea how he was as a rookie. But Jordan is more specific, and he likes the ball to be in a certain spot. And he's it's not that Sam didn't. He expected the ball to be on the right hip, things like that. But Jordan is just a little bit more like, hey, I want the ball here, and if you're going to miss, I want it here. Sam was like, I want the ball here. If you do something, then I'll make sure. If something happens, then I'll make sure it's right. And Jordan does the same thing. But I think Jordan is just he hasn't played 16 years in the league yet, so he's still
Right.
trying to figure it out for himself. And we're both young and relatively inexperienced. I mean, between the two of us, I've played 36 games. He's played 17 games, so 53 games between the two of us. And Sam played 253, so if not more than that. So, we both still have a lot to learn, and hopefully one day we can just roll with the punches like Sam did, and play for that long.
That's incredible, to think how many games you played. And, obviously with Josh and I being diehard fans, we want to see you guys stick around for a while. I wanted to ask you, I know you said your first game was during the COVID season. And what was like your welcome to the NFL moment? Other than, like, did somebody just like nail you on a punt return, or did you get like, was there like one of those moments where you were like, yep, I'm in the NFL now, like this is real?
Yeah, I think everybody has a story like that. Mine was my third game, Sunday Night Football against, or I think it might have been Monday night. I think it was Sunday night against the Chiefs, game 2, week 2 of 2021. Up to that point, I had only played 2 games, and this was my first primetime game. And we go out there. It was our second punt, and this guy they had, I don't know his first name, but his last name was Forrester, and he's a big tight end, number 88. And he was lined up to punt rush against me, and he just blew right past me. And I ended up tackling him and getting a holding call, and we ended up re-punting, and I came over to the sidelines, and Coach Harbaugh walks over, and he's like, Nick, you got your one, all right? Now you're ready to play football. Let's go. And I was like, all right. Like, that was kind of not a lot of stuff happens to the long snapper. So something like that to me is like somebody getting laid out, or, getting beat in coverage, or throwing a bad ball or something like that. So, that was kind of a wake up moment for me, and was like, got to get your stuff together. And fortunately I've done pretty well since.
And it's odd to really see the progression of the game, and to see the rule changes. I know for years long snappers used to get absolutely punished because there was no rule. There was no rule about hitting them or playing them head up. And were the rules always the way they are now with you, or were they a little bit different? Okay, so you never had to worry about.
No, I didn't get the Morgan Cox treatment where you just get lined up right on top of, and you just get absolutely plowed over. And that was not me, fortunately.
What is it like being on the field now? Josh asked you about the intensity and the atmosphere, but special teams is a mixed bag because you got different players from all different positions on the team. You see a mix of big and tall, fast, powerful. What is it like having to, you make your snap, you wait for the ball to get off, and then you break from your block, and then you're running downfield? What is it like navigating through so many different big bodies and little bodies, and different levels of speed and the protection coverages? What is that like for you just in that moment? Because you got to be disciplined and not break lane containment, but then you also got to make sure that you don't let it be you that the returner gets by to score the touch, or you're the last person before Jordan or Sam or whoever. What is that like in the moment?
I can tell you it happens in a blur. It's very fast. It is. It's usually, the biggest, fastest, strongest guys on the team that aren't like the phenom players. So, like J.K. doesn't play special teams, or Gus or Lamar or somebody like that. But it's usually somebody like David Ajabo or Adafe Owe, or Miami runs Christian Wilkins on punt return,
which is insane.
Yeah, tell me about it.
He's a 300-pound defensive end.
I've been getting crushed by him for 2 years, and we play him again this season, so it'll be fun. But that is it's a very unique in football because like you said, there's a lot of different body types out there, and it's very different play than the rest of the game. But it like I said, it happens really fast, and you're just like, you're doing your best. I mean, you practice the reps over and over again, so you kind of just your body kind of takes over, and you kind of shut your mind out a little bit, and you just let your body and your instincts take over and do what you practice and preach during the week, and you hope to God that it happens according to plan, and then you just run your ass off, and you run. I don't run super fast, but I just every time I run as hard as I can, and most of the time it ends up in a fair catch or somebody else makes a tackle, but very very occasionally I'll get an opportunity to make a tackle, and I'll probably close my eyes and just jump at the guy and try to get him down as best I can. But yeah, it is a very interesting thing. I really, it's kind of hard to explain it because it all happens so fast. Like I watch it on tape and the emotions are out of it, so it's obviously hard to recall some of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I love it. Obviously, I'm still rocking it.
Hey Nick, I got one for you.
Yeah.
The Ravens Steelers has been one of the best rivalries in the NFL for some time now. We're both lifelong Ravens fans, diehard. We grew up. You're taught to hate the Steelers.
Yeah.
Now this team, more in recent years, it's kind of like the Bengals, have kind of stepped up, and it's kind of like the Steelers have dropped down a little bit as far as the intensity of the rivalry. Do you guys feel that too? Is it still? I mean, because like years ago, Ravens players truly, some, not all of them. I know you guys are friends and it's a fraternity, but Suggs would wear a shirt, "F you Pittsburgh," and Tomlin would. It was always shit talking, and when the game was played, it was physical, nasty. Do you guys still have that same intensity? Because it seems like the rivalry's kind of died down somewhat. It's not the same. I'll say that.
I can tell you that Coach Harbaugh still hates the Steelers,
Okay,
and we still take those games very seriously. We watch like the same hype video every time we play them, and that's still the biggest game on the calendar, I think, as far as a rivalry perspective. Anytime it's a divisional opponent, it's a huge game. But I mean, I definitely think that the Steelers are still I don't want to say our main rival because we equally dislike everybody in our division, I think, when we play them. But like you said, I guess since I've been there, we've actually played better against the Bengals. We have a losing record against both of them, but since I've been there, we're 3-4 against the Bengals, and we are 5-1 against the Steelers. Oh no, sorry, 1-5 against the Steelers, and so we got to turn that around this year. But I think they're both huge games, and even the Browns as well. But there is something extra when you play Pittsburgh, especially when you go to Pittsburgh. It's there's a little bit more. There's a little bit of extra juice on. I don't know where it comes from. I think it's like all the players before us. We watched the Terrell video and the Ray Lewis videos and the Ben Roethlisberger with the bloody nose and all those plays, and there's definitely a little bit. The juice is turned up a little bit for those Pittsburgh games.
That is awesome to hear. That is awesome to hear.
Yeah,
we worry about that, Nick. We do worry because, the Bengals have become.
God, I hate the Bengals.
Public enemy number one for the Ravens fans. But at the same time, that's a fan base that celebrates losing a Super Bowl and bragging about it. To me, that's kind of poverty franchise. That's between them and Cleveland, they're like the paper champions, and the arrogance is astounding for teams that have never won a Super Bowl. So we always wonder because I guess it's because the name value associated to the rivalry, like Hines Ward and Ed Reed and Antonio Brown, Terrell Suggs, Ray. Ryan Clark, those kind of guys aren't on the field anymore. And like what Josh saying, you guys are a fraternity. So at the end of the day, you're not going to absolutely hate each other's guts with the exception of a few. But it just seems like it lost its luster, especially after Ben retired, to where now
that definitely took a toll on the rivalry.
I'm sure it did, and we've always been curious, but to hear a current player talk about it is different because most of the Ravens that we've talked to were Ravens in the late '90s or the mid 2000s or on the 2012 Super Bowl team. So it's always interesting to hear the perspective, but to get it from a current player is refreshing.
Yeah, I think the rivalry is definitely still there. I think the game has changed a lot since the late '90s, early 2000s. You can't have those big hits anymore, and you can't. Hold on, my dog turned the TV on. 1 second, I got to check this
That's
out.
awesome.
I apologize.
That's cool, man. He's got a beautiful dog.
Really?
Yeah, he was on pre-show. He made his appearance on pre-show.
Yeah, Klaus is our 5-month-old puppy. He was walking on the couch and hit the TV remote and turned it on. But yeah, the rivalry is definitely still there. Like I said, the game has changed so much that it's not that it's still a very violent sport, but it's not that it's not as it was where they're hitting guys and they're spinning like a helicopter in the air and ripping people's helmets off and things like that. It's a lot more civilized in a sense, but it's definitely still there. It may not look like that on TV, but I can tell you those team meetings during Pittsburgh week, they're the same. They're still very, very much the same as they've always been.
And Josh, just to catch you up, Nick is a brave soul, man. He has a 5-month-old puppy and a 2.5-month-old son. So he is.
Oh yeah.
He is in high energy. One of the two is always going to be awake and hyper ready to go.
Poop and pee everywhere, dude. We just got dog poop and baby poop everywhere in our house. So it's just one more thing to the pile. We love it. My wife and I we have 2 dogs and our son, and it's a lot of work sometimes, but it's great, and we love it.
And before we let you go, Nick, we want to thank you for joining the show. You're our first current Raven, and hopefully one of many. We do enjoy, watching you guys on Thursday, Sunday, Monday, whichever it falls on. But before, I was curious. Before we let you go, what is your favorite thing to do in Baltimore off the field? Like, what is something that you've really grown a fondness for?
Well, I've had an interesting time since I've been there. COVID was my first year, so I didn't do a whole lot. Actually, didn't do anything. And then my second year, still didn't really do a whole lot. COVID was kind of happening still. We do love the food in the city. We go to places like Tagliata and Lock Bar and down in Harbor East and things like that. But favorite thing to do, we live out in Carroll County. My wife and I are up in Westminster. So we're kind of far away from the city. I do love playing golf at Baltimore Country Club. That's a fantastic place. Let's see. What else we got? Let's see. I'm trying to think of – we do like how close we are to a bunch of different places because, like, being in Georgia, we're, 6 hours from Florida. We're a couple hours from, like, Charlotte. So we're not really close, whereas, like, up there you can get to D.C., Philly, wherever within 2 or 3 hours, and that's kind of cool. I'm trying to think. We haven't done – it sounds horrible, but we haven't done a whole lot outside of go – because we're not there right now. We're down in Georgia right now. But I would say, man, this is tough.
You eat any crab cakes, crabs?
We have, yeah. I mean, we've been to Jimmy's, had Jimmy's seafood and had their 1-pound crab cake, and we get the stuff catered in. I would say our favorite restaurant is probably Tagliata. That place is so good.
My brother-in-law frequents there. He says, we
love it there. Yeah. I'm trying to think. In 2020, was it 2020? Might have been 2021. I can't remember what year it was, but we went to this like Harry Potter corn maze. It was like down below Ellicott City.
I know exactly.
It might even have been in Glen Burnie. I can't remember exactly where it was, but my wife and I love Harry Potter, and my nephew's name is Griffin Moore after Gryffindor.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so we did that Harry Potter maze, and that was pretty cool. And then this year we actually did the Field of Screams. I
Mhm.
think is what it was called.
Very popular.
Very
And
popular around
that
here,
was
yes,
that was very cool. So we've done a lot of Halloween stuff. I'll say that.
Yeah, there you go.
So we need to venture out more now that we're going to be up there for a while. We're going to move up there full time. I think my wife and I this year when we go up for OTAs, we're going to try to find somewhere to move up there and be there full time so we can venture out and explore a little bit more.
That's awesome.
that sounds great, man. When you guys do get up here, Pappas's has really good crab cakes.
Okay.
Man, if you're looking for good pit beef, Chaps
Okay.
is like
Chaps.
Chaps is the spot to go for good pit beef. I'll probably get a ton of comments about other places, but I really don't care about other places.
Listen, Nick, when it comes to food, listen, man. When it comes to look, we listen to you about the NFL. That's your side of things. When it comes to food, you got to trust us. We know.
Oh, I have no
Yeah,
doubt. I have no doubt.
we're the we're not the heavyweights for nothing, man.
I was gonna say, yeah, you got the,
Both of
it's
us
in
had
the
the
name, I
size to
guess.
probably play offensive guard in the NFL. We just don't have the athleticism
Yeah, or the know-how.
or the know-how, right?
But thank you for joining us, Nick. You can let everybody know where they can find you on social media if they want to follow along to the daily life of.
Oh yeah, I'm only
you
on
and Emily?
Instagram. Yeah, I'm only on Instagram at Nick Moore 046. That's all I got right now. I don't have anything else social wise. Yeah, check it out. I don't post a whole lot, but I post a lot during the season. I don't post a whole lot in the off season. So catch me in August or April, I guess, when we start working again.
Sounds good, man. Just hang around for post show for a minute, and that'll wrap up
Absolutely.
the show. Josh, go ahead and sign us off, man.
All right, we ain't gonna talk about too much stuff tonight, but we got a real Raven, guys. We're moving up in the world. Current Raven. Keep watching.
All right, that's a wrap, folks.